So this is the topic for today. So we are going to talk about threat hunting in Office 365 Cloud with Office 365 Defender. So basically, I tend to always call Office 365 a tenant organization because it makes it more relatable in terms of using simpler terms than cloud. So I tend to use it say organization. So I think I would say probably threat hunting in your organization. So before I go into main that, so I just want us to have an overview of what I feel threat hunting is all about. So in the slide, we can see that threat hunting is the process of proactively searching for malware or attackers that are hiding within network. So to detect threats, threat hunting is a predictive element to a layered security strategy, empowering organizations to go on to the offensive looking for threats. Threat hunting is usually carried out by highly skilled and security professionals using sophisticated tool sets to identify and stop hard to find malicious activities on the network. Now, generally, this is usually a manual process, and it has to do with you knowing the indications and where to look for in Office 365. So, like I said, lately I've been doing so much in security and compliance. So that's like my main admin portal for now. So, and that's basically where we're going to base, where we are going to look at stuffs on how to know when spot when things are going wrong, things we need to look at, and to dig in further about the user's activity as well. So, in summary, threat hunting is a proactive approach to cybersecurity predicated on assumed breach mindsets. So these are the things that we need to understand that probably when we go threat hunting, we need to understand, probably presume that there's already been a breach. So we can go through the logs, reports, and see if there's any anomaly at all in our organization. So I want us to also have a look at this report, Microsoft Digital Defense Report. So this report is gathered by over 8 trillion daily security signals and observations from Microsoft security and threat intelligence experts. So this report is annual, is yearly, actually yearly report that comes out, and it really contains many things about Microsoft Defense as well. So here you can have a look at the link down below here, where you can always go to download the reports. So now, in 2019, Microsoft Defender blocked over 13 billion malicious and suspicious email, out of which more than 1 billion were URLs set up for explicit purpose of launching a phishing credential attack. So having worked in Exchange, when it comes to compromised accounts, practically it has always been phishing. Phishing has always been the high rates of attack that these bad guys use to harvest credentials. So and also with unsuspecting users, they always tend to click on these links, and these days that is always hard. It's always hard to detect phishing emails. Now, this report, Microsoft Digital Defense report, makes it clear that threat actors have rapidly increased in sophistication over the past year, using techniques that make them harder to spot and then threaten even guys that tend to even know spot phishing attacks. So it always has to do with training and retraining of your users as well. So takes us to the next. We have to talk about ways whereby these attackers harvest credentials. So these attackers, they tend to harvest credentials using the following methods: credential stuffing, phishing, keystroke logging, local discovery, extortion, password spray, and brute force attack. So now, when it comes to credential stuffing, so this is more like because there are some users who tend to always paste their username and passwords on their screen or on their keyboards or on their desk as well. So bad guys can always walk around and always take screenshots or take pictures of their credentials, and also I guess we phishing as well, and the keystroke login where maybe you might probably want to check up on your email. Just you use your kid's machine to just to log in. Unknowingly, you don't know it's already infected by a keylogger. So that way, your account could be compromised as well. And also, there are local discovery like dustbin dive, whereby people can go into people's trash cans to search um, for sticky notes that was thrown away, or any document as well that can give them a clue as to what your password will look like. Another forms of other credential harvesting techniques like extortion, password spray, and brute force attack. Okay, so this is another this down the source of this information is from this technique article, whereby it was done by a top Microsoft executive, and where he discussed this at length as well. So here, so now, in order for us to start with threat hunting, I believe we really need to understand, let's say, set up some security baselines as well. We need to, in our organization, we need to block some loopholes, because I don't really think there is no point doing threat hunting when you don't even know if your door is locked, if you don't know if your window is locked, if you don't know if there's any loophole. So I believe first we need to probably talk about loopholes. We have to block loopholes and set up a baseline in terms of security. So if there is any attempt to log in through legacy authentication, you'll be like, ah, okay, so I've blocked this. So this must be a clue for me to look into this. Why is person trying to log in through legacy authentication? And also you can always look into alerts as well. So we'll talk about this in a bit. Um, I don't know if hello guys. It feels like I'm talking alone here.
You're doing great. Doing great.
All right. Please,
Doing
guys, in
great.
case, thank you, guys. Thank you. In case if there's any questions or any answers, or maybe I'm talking too fast, or you want me to slow down, please do call my attention to it, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you, guys. Okay. So, we are going to go through this one after the other. So, I made a few slides on points I would like to highlight more about. So, talking about multi-factor authentication. So the next slide. So this is a process whereby a user is prompted using signing event for additional forms of authentication. And this prompt could be to enter a code on their cell phone or provide a fingerprint scan. When you require a second form of authentication, security is increased as this additional factor isn't something that's easy for an attacker to obtain or duplicate. So typically, I will say that since my experience as a support engineer in Exchange, I'm yet to come across. I've worked on over, let's say, 5,000 cases. I'm yet to come across like any compromised account that has MFA enabled. To be honest, I can't remember. Maybe, but I can't remember. I can't remember anyone that has been not that it's foolproof, but so far in my experience so far I'm yet to encounter such experience. So we'll talk about different forms of multi-factor authentication. You can use the mobile Microsoft Authenticator. So this is a mobile app that you can use to authenticate. That's two-step verification, and it also helps to boost your account as well. So the next one, you have Windows Hello for Business. You have FIDO2 security keys, you have hardware tokens, you have software tokens, and you have SMS and voice, which I think is more popular for everyone, because it's either you get a PIN code to your phone, or you get a voice prompt on your phone for you to authenticate. So these days, what happens is when you enter your password, it gets prompted as well. So even if the attacker has your password, he will require the second step for him to complete authenticating. So the next slide, okay, so talks about legacy authentication. So typically, when we want to log into our account, we tend to pass through authentication, and this authentication is like a protocol. So we have the legacy authentication protocols. So these are used by users to access their Office 365. So, and it's supported by Microsoft Azure as well. But the limitation to this legacy authentication is that it doesn't support the multi-factor authentication. So typically, if you enable MFA for an account and you don't go ahead to block legacy authentication, um, users, bad guys with the password can always use any of the legacy authentication protocols like POP, authenticated SMTP, IMAP, and MAPI. And also, you can use PowerShell as well to log into your account, especially admin accounts as well. So it's always important to always block legacy authentications because of these limitations as well. So now in the conference, I think that was 2000 and 2020, whereby the Microsoft director for identity security, Alexander, that was like when I watched it through on YouTube, it was like an eye opener because according to him, 99% of password spray attacks use legacy authentication protocols. So these guys already know that, okay, so if probably I have the username and password, then I can now try to log in using legacy authentication protocols. And also he said, in fact, to put it the way he said that more than 99.9% actually. The video is on YouTube as well. If you type in RSA conference, you can see the video. And I think I included it down here, down below on the slide as well, where he talks so much about what they discovered when they analyzed authentication logs as well. So, and he says 97% of credential stuffing attacks use legacy authentication. And he made a study revelation whereby he said that Azure AD accounts in organizations that have disabled legacy authentication experience 67% fewer compromises than those where legacy authentication is enabled. So I guess blocking authentication will go a long way to helping us secure our users' accounts as well. And there are so many ways you can do it. You can block legacy authentication using conditional access policy from the Azure AD, and also you can also do it via PowerShell as well. I provided the links on how to go about this in the slide. Okay, so we are going to talk about okay. So typically, the next one is about delete slash block accounts not in use in the last number of days. So there are some accounts, or maybe the user is no longer in an organization, or you just created a random account. Because most of the times, there are organizations whereby admins tend to create an account for a certain purpose, and when they're done with the purpose, they will tend to forget to delete the account. So it happens that accounts goes in unused as well, and bad guys might target this account, and you might not even remember about the account again. So it's always advised to always disable accounts that are not in used as well. Okay, so the next one is talking about SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So now these are all techniques that you can use to protect your email delivery as well and email security. But these are basically email security techniques that you can use. So these SPF records, it tends to verify that the sender is permitted in your domain to send out emails on behalf of your domain. We have situations whereby bad guys tend to hack into users' mailbox and tend to use it to send out emails. And now, when they so SPF is like a record that contains IP addresses that you can use to send out emails. Okay, so these records, if let's say the bad guy hacks into the account and wants to send out emails, now the IP address the bad guy uses will not be in your SPF records, and it will always fill the KIM and the MAC. And this will always, once it hits the recipient's organization, it will always tend to fill SPF record as well. And with SPF record is alongside Dicking, and you have DMAC as well. These are these are tools that will help us to prevent spoofing and phishing attacks. So DKIM works in a way such as when you send out outbound emails, it tends to add a unique signature for your domain, for your organization in the message header to the recipient. So when a recipient receives it, it tends to run a check on the header and it tends to verify that, okay, so this is actually from the sender actually. So it helps to verify the let's say legitimacy of your emails. So even when a bad guy hacks into your account and sends an email out, it tends to always, you're going to fail DKIM because apparently it's not going to pass SPF and it's going to fail DKIM as well. So this will always hinder the deliverability of that email that the bad guy has sent as well. And DMARC also helps the receiving email system to like, it's like an action also. So when you send out an email, it goes through SPF and the KIM as well. And also, so when it gets to the recipient's organization through their email filter, it tends to run a check to all this. So when it gets, it will now be like check DMARC and check SPF and check DKIM. So once it checks and it fails, it will now perform the action stated on the DMARC. So if you state on the DMARC to quarantine and send a report to you, it's going to quarantine and send a report to you as well. So all these things can be done in your domain host provider where you set up all these records. So these are records that you set up to help prevent, to secure your emails, outbound emails, most especially. Okay, so we go to the next, okay, which is about audit log search. So in Office 365, we have a unified audit log whereby it needs to be enabled so that you can monitor what your users are doing, and it can also help you to when you are doing threat hunting, you can say, okay, so let's say you notice this user, there's an anomaly in his account. You can go to audit log and have a look at what the user has done over the past 30 days. What happened to this account? Did he create any rule? Did he create any send any email as a person? Because you have features like send on behalf, so you can see stuffs like that as well. And also now, typically there are let's say office licenses that you need to enable it manually for audit log to work. By default, it is turned on for mailbox auditing. So you need to go in through PowerShell commands to enable it for individual mailboxes. And the next one, talking about mail forwarding rules. So it's always important for us because, in my experience as a support engineer, typically this is like the first step that a hacker does. So once an account is compromised, they tend to always set up a rule in the recipient's mailbox, either to delete email, or either to receive and move to a certain folder, or either to send emails to quarantine, or do all sorts of things. So it's always advisable to always keep out on the look for email forwarding rules and for your users as well.
Yeah,
So
so
now,
that's a very good thing because one of the common attacks right now to get past MFA is to
mm,
is for a rogue app to get app consent, and
mm,
then stick the forwarding rules in place. That happened to SANS, a cybersecurity training company,
yeah,
one of their users. So yeah, the mailbox forwarding rules are
I think that was
very
in
important.
August last year. I think
Yep.
in August. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's always important. Typically, by default, I think that was implemented in September last year. By default, new tenants tend to have forwarding rules disabled for outbound, for outside the organization. So by default, and it's being rolled out to older tenants as well. So I think it's phase by phase. Then by default, forwarding rules are disabled for tenants these days. If you open a new tenant, it's going to have forwarding rules disabled. So users can are unable to forward emails outside the organization. So the settings is in security and compliance, where you can determine whether you want to allow forward in your organization. And so if you want to allow, you can always determine if it's for, let's say, users. You can specify the users you want to allow forwarding for as well. You can also block forwarding as well using mail flow rule as well. And also, let's list to the last one. Alerts. I mean, Microsoft alerts are they're like they tend to alert you or notify you whenever there is any threats, or there are alerts like in any user that sends a large number of emails. Like, so let's say you have a user one who always sends one or two emails in a day, and all of a sudden, user is sending like 50 emails in a day, 100 emails in a day. So there tends to be an alert for that will alert the admins that this is like this is anomaly for this user. This user needs to be checked. So this is what alert. I'll go into alerts later in the slide as well. So so now let's enter into Microsoft Defender. So Microsoft Defender is a cloud-based email filtering service which protects the organization against unknown malware and viruses by providing robust zero-day protection and safeguards against harmful links, against malicious threats posed by emails, links, and collaboration tools. So typically, it's like says here, email-based email filtering service, and it contains like a number of tools that you can implement to safeguard your users, and also tend to also a hunt for bad guys in your organization as well. So this defender, because I tend to receive, let's say, inquiries about this defender, because most guys tend to not understand the different plans. So this defender comes in two plans. You have the plan one, I have the plan two. So, and also if you want to know the plans that you have in your organization, you can always go to protection.office.com, and on the trust management page, you will see when you drop down, you will see you have real-time detections. That's you have plan one, and also you have Threat Explorer. That's plan two. That's how you know the one that you have. So Microsoft Defender for Office is included also in Business Premium as well, and Defender for Plan two is included in Office 365 E5, A5, M365 E5 security, and also M365 E5. Okay, and also you can also get it as an add-on as well. You can also get Microsoft Defender as an add-on to your various subscriptions. Let's say you have Business Basic, you can go ahead and get as add-on as well to your whatever license that you have. Or let's say you have on premises, you can also get as an add-on as well. Okay, so more about Microsoft Defender. It detects phishing and email threats, and correlates data across email and data endpoints, identities, and apps. So it's like it gets everything together into one place, whereby you can always manage your users' behaviors as well. So Microsoft Defender for Office 365 uses behavior-based detections and machine learning to detect sophisticated email threats. And defenders can use advanced hunting and other tools in M365 Defender to locate emails that exhibit the unique techniques used by the phishing campaigns, and perform additional investigations and resolve attacks as well. So this is where for more details on the plans as well and what they entail. So for plan one, you have safe attachments, safe links, safe attachment for SharePoint, OneDrive, and Microsoft Teams. And you also have anti-phishing in Defender for Office 365 protection, and also real-time protections. For plan two, you have all in plan one, including automation, investigation, remediation, and education capabilities. Also, you have threat attackers, threat explorers, sorry, threat trackers, threat explorers, automated investigation and response, attack simulation, and campaign views. All these we are going to see in much details later on. Okay, so yeah, so now let's talk about the policies in Microsoft Defender. So now these policies are defined by your organization and determine the behavior and protection level for predefined threats. These policy options are extremely flexible. For example, your organization security team can set fine-grained threat protection at the user, organization, recipient, and domain levels. And it's important to review your policies regularly because new threats and challenges emerge daily. So, like I said here, all these policies are available, but it's not like a one-time thing that you're going to set up and you always need to always review, always tweak, always fine-tune to protect your organization better as well. So I've had experiences with organizations whereby they all have this, and they think that once you get the license, it's already configured. Yeah, there are some default configurations, but for like example, for like safe links, safe attachment, you will have to do the configuration yourself. You have to define the parameters yourself. If not, it's just there. It's just like you have a car and you don't drive it. So you have to enter the car to drive the car for you to make use of the car. So once you get the safe links, have it, you need to go in to configure it to protect your users as well, and it also help you to for threat hunting as well. So we'll talk about these policies in details in the following slides. So we'll start with safe attachments. So these safe attachments, there are tools that you can use to protect your users. So let's say, because most of these bad guys, they tend to always send attachments as well. They tend to always, let's say, deliver payloads of malwares through attachments. So safe attachments is meant to protect you from those guys. So what it does is to when safe attachment is configured for users and email coming in carries an attachment, it's going to scan the attachment. It's going to scan it first. If it contains any malware, it's going to scan it in a sound environment and detonate it there before it gets delivered. If the attachment is malicious, it's going to quarantine the attachment and it's going to deliver without the attachment. Now, there's also what we call dynamic delivery for safe attachments. So this is a situation whereby the attachments will be delivered, but dynamically it will be detonated in the sandbox environment, whereby if there is any unknown signature that emits, it's going to get quarantined as well. And this technique tends to help prevent zero-day attacks. So against malwares. So these are attacks that like first of its kind. So once it's been detonated in a similar environment and the behavior is known, it will be quarantined. If the behavior is malicious, it will be quarantined as well. So this is what the safe attachment does in Microsoft Defender for Office 365. And the next one, safe links. So typically what this does is so now, I think for users, mostly users in our organization, in most organizations, they tend to fall victims when they click on links. This is like the Achilles heels for users. They tend to always, even through the best of the guys, they tend to always fall victim by clicking on links. So this guy here, Self Links, is meant to always have a look at the links as well. So any links that come through organization, it tends to rewrite the link as well. And it tends to always pass through a sandbox to know if this link is malicious or not. If it is malicious, when it's being clicked, it's going to provide a warning to the user. So there is a setting in the links, in the safe links tool, whereby the user can click through or not. And also you can always have a look at people who have clicked through. It always takes audit logs of click through as well. So it provides time of click verification for URLs. So once you click on the link, if this happens in milliseconds, it's going to pass through the sandbox and determine if the link is legit or not. If it's not, it's going to block your access to the website as well. And this can be deployed in email messages and other locations as well, like your OneDrive, Teams, and also SharePoint as well. So basically what it does, it protects organizations from malicious links that are used in phishing and other attacks. This is a very nice tool that you can use as well. The next one is anti-phishing as well. Okay, so anti-phishing policies. Now, these policies tend to help you protect your organization against impersonated-based phishing attacks and other forms of phishing attacks. And I think I would like to show a demo about this because this is quite um, I think a quite interesting policy as well. I'd like us to have a look at it. So I usually have my test tenant that I use to carry out troubleshooting whenever I have tickets that I need to understand how and what's going on. So I'm sorry if you see my watermarks. These are like repros I've done over the time. I tend to always reproduce customers' issues and tend to understand why it's going on, why it's happening, and figure out the way to address their issues. So I'm going to go ahead to go to my test tenant now so that we can have a look on my test tenant as well. So this is my test tenant. I'm going to go to security and compliance. Okay.
Are we supposed to be using something other than the PowerPoint right now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, so sorry. So sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. I believe you can see now.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Yeah, thanks,
listening.
Frank.
Thank you so much, Frank. Okay, so this is where you have the threat management, and this is where you have the policies. So this is where you have the different policies in place. And okay, so let me just rush through safe links, safe attachments before I get back to anti-phishing policies. So let me start with safe attachment, where you can yeah, this is where one I created when I was troubleshooting an issue with safe links attachment as well. So I've already created one, but you can go ahead and create a fresh one. So we can see. So I click on create. So let's say give it a name.
I'd like to point out, I think you have an issue with tab management. How many
Sorry?
tabs you got open? I think you have an issue with tab management. How many tabs you got open?
I do. I have a whole lot. Okay, so this is where you have to set the safe links attachment as well. So this is where if you have the various options here. So here you can select monitoring. So this monitoring, what it does is it continues to deliver the message until the message after the malware is detected, and also track scan results as well. So block is meant to block current and future email attachments with detected malware, and then replace is going to block the attachment with the attachment and continue to deliver the message. So typically what this does is if an email contains an infected attachment, it's going to now block the attachment and deliver the message. And also dynamic delivery is going to deliver the message without attachments immediately and also reattach it once the scan is complete. So these are the options you have here. And
If my team has E5 licenses and they use the Outlook client, I've never even gone into this interface to configure this. What do we have by default? Are there any attachment scannings by default, or do I have to go in and configure?
yes, You have to go in and configure for your users. So, but typically, this is like advanced security threat protection for your users, because normally it gets through EOP, which is HTTP online protection for your users. So any malicious email that gets through EOP, this is like an added layer of support for EOP. So
So if I'm not scanning on the server, then if somebody opens a malicious attachment, is the local defender's desktop handling it?
So once this is enabled on your users, for your users as well. So what happens is when the attachment comes in, it first of all scans the attachment before it delivers, depending on what you select here. So it can scan and block the email from coming through, or it can strip off the attachment and deliver the message. Also, it can, because sometimes customers tend to complain of delayed email delivery. So sometimes these settings can tend to, like I say, delay delivery of emails because it's scanning the attachment. So this is where dynamic delivery comes into play. So the message will deliver, but the attachment will be scanned and it should be reattached once it's done. So for your users, you will have to implement this for your users as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so the next is we're going to talk about who to apply it to. Okay, so you're going to is going to be applied to. So these are the conditions. So is that the recipient? Let's say you have top executives in your organization who you want to apply it to. Then you apply it to them, or you put them in a group and apply it to the group, or you have a recipient domain. Let's say all your domains, you can apply it to all your domains. And also, you can have exceptions as well with the same parameters, whereby recipient is, depends a member of this, and domain is as well. So you have options to include recipients and have options to also exclude recipients as well. Okay, so the next step is now to review the settings. So let me just get, let's say, okay. So let me choose one of my domains. Okay, so let's say I want users in this domain to be protected by safe links attachment. So I'll now click on next. So I'll now have a review of the policy I've created to know if I can go ahead to make some adjustments or leave it like this. Okay, so however, I have one already. So I'm going to go ahead to cancel this. Okay, so I have one already for my test environment when I did the repro to understand why it's not working for a certain user and know if how to provide solution to this. So okay, so that's that for safe attachments. And we now go back to policy to have a look at the safe links. Okay, so we get to safe links. So like I said, this is my test environment. I've worked on safe links before, and I did a repro on this for a user, and this is the one I created as well. So I have to create a fresh one so we can all go through it together. So this is where I give it a name and the settings. So here, so this is where we can now choose the behavior on how to on how we want this to work in our organizations. Like I said, if this is not configured by default, you have to do it for your organization as well. If you have the license, you need to go ahead to configure it as well, because most of the times most admins tend to once they have the license, they tend to comes by default. The settings comes by default. We always have to go in here to make the changes that we want and set it up for our users as well. So here you have select actions for unknown potential malicious URLs and messages. So I can always click on. So here URLs will be rewritten and checked against a list of known malicious links when the user clicks on the link. So this like what happens when, let's say, so in one of the scenarios I worked on, whereby the user wants to create security awareness for his users, the admin. So the it always gets written. So this is what happens, and it's using known malicious links. So it wants to track the users who's going to fall for it and stuff. So this is where you can come and either you toggle it off or on. And then also here, you can also turn this off for Teams as well, in terms of Teams chats. And you have guest users in your organizations that will always, when you have Teams meeting with guest users, you tend to always indicate if it's on or off. You can always set this for Teams as well. If you like, you can come and put it on. So here, you have the apply real-time URL scanning for suspicious links and links that point to files. So here you can come and toggle it if you want. And so these are basically, okay, so now another thing important here is always this one as well. So this will help you to track your users click. So you can come here and take this. You don't need to take this. If you want to track users who click through, you can always come here and untick this to make sure this is not ticked. So you can always use this in threat hunting as well. So typically you can always find this out using PowerShell. It's PowerShell 2 that you use the commandlet to use to find users who have clicked on this, click through. So this is an option here whereby the next option is whereby you don't allow users to click through to original URL. So like I said, when this is set up in an environment, any link that comes in, it gets written. So once you click on it, it's being run through, it's been scanned if it's malicious or not. So if it is malicious, when you click on it, it's going to bring up a warning page for you to alert you to know that, okay, this site you're going to is unsafe. And we'll give you an option to whether to click through or not. However, if you don't want your users to always click through, you can always come here and select this. This will prevent your users from clicking through. Okay, and even if you don't have this on, you can always use the other one to track users who click through despite the warning as well. And also this option is where if you have some URLs that you want not to be written, you can always come here and exclude those URLs as well. So the next part is talking about notification. So this is where you can notify the admin, you can notify the users, sorry, you can notify users whenever they click on it as well. You can use a custom text, whereby you can use any text you want, do not click through if you like, or any text that you want to put in here as well. So then you can also specify who you want this to be applied to. Maybe you want to safeguard your executives, top executives in your environment. You can set it up for them as well. So it depends on who you want to apply it to, just like we saw in safe attachment as well. It contains the same parameters. You can drill it down to certain users or users in a particular group, or you can set it up for a certain domain as well. And you can also exclude user level, group level, and also domain level as well. And so you can come here to review your settings, even though I don't have any settings. So I'm going to cancel out, and so show the one I have already here. So this is the one I have configured already when I was doing a test, and I had issue is a scenario that has to do with the self links attachments. So this is where we have to have a look at the one I've done, and here is applied to if the recipient's address contains any of these three domains that I have in my tenant as well, and it's going to apply the safe links policy. So all this enabled, safe attachment, URL scanning, wait for URL scanning to complete for delivery. So these are all the things I've enabled as well. on my test environment. Okay, so we go back to policy, and now go ahead with my anti-phishing policy. Okay, so here, this policy is meant to protect your users from phishing attacks, majority phishing attacks. Most of, like I said, you have a default policy here, but it needs to be configured. It needs to be configured, and you can create a custom one if you want. But the default policy here, it really needs to be configured. If you don't go ahead to configure it, it's as if it's just as you bought a car and you're not using it at all. So you need to go ahead to go and set it up. So this is where so as you can see, it's default. It cannot be deleted, and the priority, it has to be top priority. So all these are being grayed out because it's the default. It can't be deleted at all. Or so here you have where you have the settings, and this is where I think it's important for us to know that we can always add users you would like to protect. Let's say your CFO, CEO, and other senior executives. You can come and add them here. So this policy tends to protect them, especially from phishing attacks. Now, this policy, it's not like you're going to be seeing the attacks or get notification when it happens. It's from the backend thing. It's going to be defending all those mailboxes as well. So you can add domains to protect. So you can include all the domains that you own, and you can also include custom domains as well. And also here, when you talk about actions, so if an email, so when it talks about impersonation, it can be let's say someone is impersonating a user in your organization, and the mailbox is being protected by an phishing attack. So this settings is going to apply to that email. So these are the options. So either redirect the message to other email addresses, or let's say, because sometimes you can always want to, as the security admin, get hold of these emails. It will also help you in your threat hunting attack, in your threat hunting process. It will understand the attack that your user is facing as well. And also you can move the message recipient's email folder, quarantine the message, deliver the message, and add other addresses to the business line, and delete the message before it's delivered. Or I wouldn't say you should apply, you don't apply any action. I would like to apply any of these actions. Also, okay, so now in terms of impersonated domain, there are domains whereby these bad guys can always impersonate a domain. Let's say use the letter R and N in place of M when it comes to any domain that contains that starts with M, like Microsoft. This tends to happen virtually all the time, whereby these bad guys tend to combine these two alphabets to impersonate Microsoft.com to send it to users as well. So this tends to defend against that, and these are where the actions you can apply to attacks in that nature. So this is similar to the one we just went through now. So you can redirect to other emails, move image to recipient's junk folder, quarantine emails, deliver message, and add other addresses to the BCC line, that's blind copy, and delete the message before it is delivered as well. Or you can apply you don't apply any action, but I would say you should apply some action. So here, okay, so here, so now mailbox intelligence. This is the part that I think I really enjoy most, the way it works. So what this mailbox intelligence does is it tends to understand the flow patterns of your mailbox. It tends to know, is an AI. It tends to understand the users that you communicate with more often as well. So it can easily identify when an email message might be from an attacker who impersonates one of those contacts. Let's say it communicates more often with your vendor as well, quite often. So this mobile intelligence tends to know, okay, always communicate with this guy, and always tend to know when there is email an attacker wants to impersonate that guy. So it always tends to know. So you can always enable the mailbox intelligence. So it can always help you in that aspect. and always apply the following actions when such emails arrives. So here as well, you can always add trust senders and domains. So messages from sender email address and domains that that you add here will never be classified as impersonated based attack. So these are like your trusted senders, like probably your vendors, and also your trusted domains as well. So you tend to set them up here, and this policy will always see them and recognize them whenever they're coming through. Okay, so this is where you review your settings as well. Okay, so this is where I review settings. I've not done any settings so far because I have one already, and I'm going to now click on cancel. So we can have a look at the default settings already here. So I can now close. So this is where you can. So like I said, if it's not configured, it won't provide you to protection. It needs to be configured. Okay, I don't know if there is any message on the chat. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So so we go back to the policy. Okay. So here, so we talk about anti-spam as well. So practically, we have, will I say, classify spam as some of those unwanted emails that tends to always find their way into our mailboxes. So this is where we can always come up to set up the anti-spam settings. So this is where you can come to set up policies as well. So we have the default ones. You can always create a custom if you like. So now in this anti-spam, we have settings for inbound and also for outbound as well. So typically, okay, let me start with outbound here. The outbound filter policy tends to help you understand whenever your user, because what typically happens is when an account gets compromised, the hackers tend to send like massive emails which contains let's say bad links to both internal and external users. And also now, when this policy tends to always filter emails that leave your organization. So when it goes through this outbound policy, it tends to the policy tends to work on it depending on the settings that you have here as well. So this is where you can come to indicate where. So let's say you have a user sending suspicious outbound emails. So this is always known by EOP when an email contains some certain words, some certain links, and also like unusual activity. So let's say you have a user who's sending out one or two emails a day, and all of a sudden sending 50 emails a day. And also, when it comes to the LCL level, it also helps determine if the email is suspicious or not. So whenever EOP spots, Microsoft Defender spots a suspicious email, it tends to send a copy to you as well as the admin. Any email address that is being put in here is going to send a copy. So I will notify you that, okay, here is the copy of the email address that this email that user is sending out to the recipient. So this is where you can come and notify. So typically, once that happens, a user is all of a sudden sending hundreds of emails. EOP tends to restrict the user from sending. So automatically, when that happens, it's going to send a notification that the user has been restricted as well. So this is where you can come to configure people who will be notified when a sender is being blocked for sending outbound spam. Okay, so here, recipient limits. So you can also restrict the number of emails your user can send out. That's recipients per user. This is where you can come to like say throttle the recipient's limits. You can reduce the recipients they are sending out to. So by hour, internally hour limit and daily limit as well. So so typically if you tend to, so now this is a special, this you can also use this to protect your users as well. So whereby when you limit the sender's the recipient's limit, when you set it to a certain number, when the bad guy gets hold of the account and tends to want to send like 150 emails at once, it's going to restrict the account from doing so, and it's going to alert you as well. So this is the options that will happen, what will happen to the user when such thing happens as well. So it's going to restrict the user from sending the email, and it's going to restrict the user till from sending email till the following day. So it's going to restrict the user entirely. User will not be able to send any outbound email till the following day, and it's going to alert you as well. So this is where this is new. This one is new. I think this was implemented in September about automatic forwarding. So this is where I mentioned earlier that it was rolled out late last year, September, whereby you can control automatic forwarding in your organization. That's if you want your users to be able to forward or not forward emails out, you can come here to control that behavior. Now, forwarding can happen in so many ways. It can be inbox forwarding. It can be inbox rule to forward emails. It can be automatic forwarding as well. So, but this tends to control all types of forwarding in your organization as well. So you can use this to control it as well. So, and also this, so when you set it automatic, forwarding is disabled. When it's off, forwarding is disabled as well. But when it's on, it's enabled. So if it is off, when a user wants to forward an email, either via inbox rule or automatic forwarding, it tends to prevent the email from going out and now sends a bounce back email to the sender, notifying the sender that this has been controlled by the organization, by the admin. So I've actually had so many scenarios like this because it's still new, and most admins don't really know about this. So I've had a lot of scenarios on this. So what we usually do is either use Mailflow rule, you set, you set it on here, you Mailflow rule to fine tune it to put some users as exceptions as well, or you can always create a new one and add exceptions to the users. So here, the default spam policy. This is the default spam policy whereby you can set up. This is default is always on, and it has the following actions as well. So if you spam, you quarantine the message, high confidence spam, quarantine the message. So this is my settings as well. I'm the one that set this up. So these are the options that you can use to manage emails that are spams, unwanted emails as well. So when it comes to high confidence spam, these are the options you will need. Phishing emails, these are the options you can apply to phishing emails in your organization, and high confidence phishing emails options that you can use. Bulk emails, these are the options as well. So you can select the threshold. So now these are determined by body, and also there's a level called a spam confidence level, which is typically 1 to 9. So this is where you can use to select the threshold for it. So, and also you can select the level of threshold you want for this, and what will always happen. And also, so this is where you can configure your quarantine, how many days email can stay in quarantine as well. And you can always set up all this, and as well spam zap, peace zap, and also here. Now there are some instances whereby your vendor tends to always send emails to you, but they are using, let's say they're using third-party vendors like MailChimp or other email vendors. And most of the times, the IP reputation of those vendors is not really that good. So it tends to always see it as spam. So this is where you can come and allow the users to always, those vendors to always send emails to you. You can come here and allow the sender, if it's per user, or you allow per domain as well. And also this is where you can block, carry out block on any user, external user, or any domain that you don't want to be receiving emails from. So this is where you can set up the international spam. So either you filter image written in following languages, emails, and filter emails sent from the following countries or regions as well. So all these are contained in the message header of the incoming emails. So it tends to go through the message header and understand which one is which one and know what to do to the emails, which is dependent on what you set here as well. Okay. So this is where I have the spam properties as well. You can specify if you want to increase the spam and all this as well. So these are the various features you can go through, and the documentation is in the slide as well. So I think I need to pick up this because we are really running out of time. Okay, so this is where I have the content filter as well, and the spoof intelligence policy. This is also an interesting one, whereby you can manage is a policy for spoof for your organization as well. Okay, so we will now head back to the slide. Okay, okay, so okay. Okay, so we've talked about the anti-phishing policy, safe links, and oh no, okay, so basically anti-malware policy is for measurements that contains viruses and spyware and ransomwares as well. So all these things have extensions as well. So anti-malware policy is where you can also go there to configure the policies and extensions that you don't want in organizations and what will happen to them when they're coming as well. So we've talked about anti-spam protection, and then so now when we now head to threat investigation and the response capabilities in Microsoft Defender. So I believe I don't know if there is any feedback or any questions so far.
No, not for me. Look, going good.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I'm going to first or if I'm skipping the slides to first. Okay, so now when he talks about threat investigation and response capabilities in using Microsoft Defender, so here it has various capabilities that you can use. You have the dashboard, the Explorer, and the incident, and the attack simulator, and also the new guy, automated investigation and response. So these guys these guys are the ones I would like to cover today. Let's have a look at, just briefly have a look at them, and then maybe probably leisure time you can always go through the articles and understand better as well. So so we go to let me now head back to my test lab so we can have a look at them one by one. So so I proceed to here. So this is where you have address management. So this is the dashboard. Now, because my environment is it's a test environment, I don't have much activities going on it. So I just try as much as possible to generate activities, but I tend to have little or none. So typically, this is where you can come and have an overview of what's going on in your environment. This is where you can have a look at investigation summary, daily efficient savings, pending actions. You You can have top playbook run, threat protection status, and also you can have a reports on your URL. So practically, this is where you have reports of what's going on in your organization as well. And also you can have a global weekly threat detections as well. As you can see, over 72.31 billion messages scanned, 4.7 million threat stopped, 4.7 million ATP, and all these things. So this is where you get insights on attacks on your environment as well. Because mine is a test lab and it's only owned by me alone, and I don't have much activities in terms of sending and receiving emails. I only use this for reproduction. So you can also have the malware trends as well. And always where you can analyze malware trends about your organization. So like I said, it's not like when any attack happens, you're going to get email notification that it happens. So this is where you can come and see how an overview about threats against the organization and the one being blocked by Microsoft Defender. So, and also here, you can have insights as well. So you can always come here to see insights on likely spoofed domains over the past 7 days. And so, like I said, my test environment, I have none. So I'm sorry I don't have a lot to show here in terms of scenarios. So, but practically, if it's a busy organization, you tend to have scenarios here that you can always look up and understand and help you in threat hunting as well. So here, you can also, over here, you can have top targeted users in the organization, and you can always monitor this to know, okay, I need to keep a close eye on this guy. I'll monitor his mailbox, monitor his activities to know if there is anything out of the norm that is going on with his mailbox. So this is where you can get a clue on how to start the threat hunting um, with the concerned users. And also, you can have a view of where the attacks is coming from. So these attacks are practically, let's say, if it's coming from North America, Asia, Africa, anywhere it's coming from, this is where you can probably have an insight and know how you're going to adjust your anti-phishing policies and the other policies as well to know if you're going to block emails coming from this side as well. Also, and then importantly as well, down here, you have the trends as well, where you can have a look at how your emails, no, not now. Okay, where you can have a look at the trends as well, where you can send and receive emails in organization, and you know which ones are spam emails, and practically helps you more in understanding what is going on in your environment. So let me just uh, take this so you can have a look. So this is where in this report, like I said, I don't have much. So this is the one I have in my environment. So this is where you can always come here to analyze what is going on, whether you have a top sender in your organization. So typically we have the guys that send most emails in organization as well. So if you see any unusual sender here, you can always go in here to have a look and see why he's sending so much emails. It can always help you to investigate further. Because most of the times, most users don't even know when they get compromised. It's only when a user gets blocked and user complains that he's unable to send out emails. That's when he even knows. Because most of these guys, what they do is when they compromise accounts, they will always set up a rule. So the rule will now either a forwarding rule or a rule that directs emails to a certain folder. And sometimes they will use funny names as some. And the scenario I worked on, the bad guy just used a dot to name a folder. So if you're not meticulous enough, you don't even know and there's a custom folder that you have, and you now pushed it down. And also in terms of rule as well, you do the same thing on rule as well. So even if you go into where the rules have been set, use the dot. If you are not meticulous enough, you might not even say it as well. So this is where you can also have a look and see if and there is any unusual sender that send out a lot of emails. Okay, So this is quite helpful, the dashboard as well. So now we now go to okay, let me go back to my slide. Okay, so we have a look at Explorer. So when it comes to Explorer, this is a very, very powerful tool that we can always use. Like I said, I don't have much activities. So this is where you can always specify whatever you're looking for, or you can start with all emails. So you can always come here and have a look at all the emails that has been flagged as malware in your organization as well. You can always filter, or you can actually develop a query as well. You can actually develop a query, add conditions. Let's say you have a user here, you just want to hunt if this user has any threat to his mailbox. So you can always come here and use this to always search to see if there is any action on that user, and then always have so many options here that you can use as well. So this is a very, very good tool that you can use to search and hunt for threats in organization as well. Most of the time, like I said, these users I mean, I don't really blame them because it's all about they have their own part of the business to do. They need to focus on their business and let the admins worry about securing them as well, because um, sometimes they have so much to do that they tend to forget about security. So I guess that's why security admins tends to always be there to always watch their back, and always if there is any threat as well, they tend to always notify the user and always be able to carry out remedial actions as well. So also here now, incidents. Okay, let me talk about incident last. So attack simulator. Now I've had scenarios whereby most admins tend to always go to third party for this. So they tend to always go third party like Know Before and some other guys, and they don't even know they have this in Office 365.
Yeah,
So
so
this,
this is Frank. So what they're saying here is that actually, if you go to security.microsoft.com,
mhm.
just go to there, you're going to see you're actually working on what's considered the older portal,
Yeah,
and they're actually moving everything to the new portal. And
yes,
even with
yes,
that, they actually have a unified portal coming out. So I'm wondering
hmm
if you actually can you when you get there, I'm wondering which portal you actually have, because the old security.microsoft.com portal doesn't have all this threat management stuff in it, but the new one does, what they call the unified portal. So I'll be interested in seeing which one you have.
So the one I am on now is protection.office.com. This is where you have the whole security. But
They're going to be moving all this threat management stuff over into
yeah,
security.microsoft.com.
yes, 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 yes. Over here, it's going to be over here soon. It's here, yeah.
And
So it's going to.
you actually have the not the unified portal right now.
No, I'm at the
Um,
unified.
what's that?
I'm here. I'm at the security and compliance where you have the bold security and compliance section.
But if you go back to security.microsoft.com, go back to that
Yeah,
one.
this is yeah.
This is actually an old portal. You'll be getting a new one that's called the
Mm,
unified portal.
okay.
So all the stuff that you're seeing over in the other portal will
Mm-hmm.
actually be available in here. So in the
Okay.
future, you actually will only be coming over to here um, in the future. So it was supposed to be out by the first of the year, but it's still not out yet. So as a matter of
Wow.
fact, if you click on more resources, I
Mm-hmm.
always love the term more resources because I call it more portals. Um, this shows you
Yeah.
all of the different portals
Yeah.
that you can have access to
Okay.
moving forward. So in the future, in your job role, you'll actually be coming here to manage all of that once you have the unified portal under security.microsoft.com.
Cool. Cool. Glad to know that. Yeah, because this is where you have virtually everything as well.
I, I just wrote a lot of training material for this portal, and I'm very annoyed knowing that by the time people start reading it, they're going to have the unified portal, so everything will be out of date by the time they start reading it. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. Well, um, so yeah, like you said, this is like the new place where everything is going to be moved to soon. And at the meantime, I'm still using the old one to, but all the features are definitely going to be moved here as well from the old one, which is protection.office.com, which is this. So you're still going to get everything on here, in here. And they also have the compliance as well, the compliance portal. So let's say over here. Okay, let's see. I think it's they have the compliance compliance dot Microsoft.
Hey, you can go back talking about the investigations and the attack simulator.
So, yeah.
That's very interesting stuff, and a lot of people don't use it enough. Even though now you
Yeah.
have to.
So yeah, I've had scenarios whereby admins don't even know that there is this feature in Office, and they have it as well. So they tend to go to third-party vendors like KnowBe4 and others as well. But this is very good, and the thing with Attack Simulator is it helps you to it has so many scenarios, like you can carry out a spell phishing. You can do spell phishing using attachment. You can also do brute force attack, password spray attacks. So these are the things you can always use to test your users to understand and gauge this, how aware your users are in your environment. So you can always use this to train your users as well. And also, there's an interesting one here that is still new though. I think it's a collaboration with I think it's Telenova, like Technova. I've forgotten the name. So this is very, very nice, where you can use to educate your users as well on various attacks. Let me see. Let me try and show. So let
Did you
me
see? I think it
just.
was GoDaddy that sent out a phishing email to all its employees to collect their end of year
Yeah.
$600 bonus. That
I
was
mean,
tough.
I mean, it generated a lot of buzz as well. Because most tech security guys were like, it's so insensitive because most people are going through a tough time, and to use such
So the people that didn't click it probably got the $600 bonus. People that clicked it didn't get their $600 bonus.
but
Humiliation.
so what do you think? You think it was a good technique to use? Because most people are saying it was kind of like sensitive to use such scenario. What do you think?
I think it's a
Uh,
good exercise to train people not to click on stuff like that. You know, I mean, it's better to fail in a trial instead of failing in a real situation.
That's like somebody giving somebody a fake like $1 million scratch off lottery ticket. They think that they won, then say, no, it's just a joke. Too mean, too mean.
Yeah.
It really generated a lot of talks on social media like Twitter, whereby a whole lot of guys were like, "Oh no, no, no," because most
Hey,
families were there was cash crunch actually. So
Amik and Frank, I was curious. I mean, companies like CrowdStrike and Norton, they have the same, type of thing. And I always get like, personality disorders in terms of, antivirus stuff like this. I mean, like let's say an antivirus, do I use Defender or can I use an additional antivirus to protect myself? Can they run in tandem parallel? And same thing with this, this is on the server
yeah,
side. On the server side, can I use CrowdStrike, Norton am I supposed to use it in tandem with this, or am I supposed to pick one and marry that one?
First of all, I don't sell Microsoft products. I only train on them, so I get to not say anything. You know, I think that you have to take a look at the whole XDR environment that's being brought forward, and you can't look at Defender as just antivirus. You have to look at it as an XDR platform that it's bringing to the table. You know, where CrowdStrike strengths are, then you're going to have to say, all right, do I string them together? And also a lot to do with what sort of environment you have to take advantage of it. So, you know, if you click on incidents right there in the portal here, I just click on the incidents tab. You know, what Microsoft is doing is saying, listen, when you have an identity attack, a machine compromise, everything like that, you're going to be able to, XDR is not actually cross-domain response, but I call it that. It's actually a different wording. You're going to be able to bring together uh, Azure AD, Azure Active Directory on-prem,
Yeah.
email, files,
Mm.
endpoints, and be
Mm.
able to investigate it across all of those different domains in one place.
Mm.
And that's why they want to send you out here to do that. Um, and that is very powerful. There's a lot of things about Azure Defender for Endpoint, the old Microsoft Defender ATP or Windows Defender ATP, that people don't take advantage of, just like what you saw with the Office 365 side, where people are not enabling things. They're doing the same thing with Defender for Endpoint. So, and I have to say that they are maturing all of this stuff really, really fast. And so, uh, you know, I think that even with Azure Sentinel, their SIM product, what they're doing with that, um, you know, I can already tell you that in 6 months from now, you know, they'll probably have to come out with an extra day of training with how much they'll probably be coming out with for that. So, you know, these products are maturing rapidly and what they can do from there. If you're not, you know, today we focused on Office 365. We're not really focusing in on the four, or I actually call them five different areas, which is technically incorrect because Azure Active Directory Identity Protection is not truly a Microsoft Defender product. But when you put all that stuff together, um, you know, you really need to take advantage of everything that's being brought to the table. I think that the exam MS500 does a good job at, and probably SC900. I have not looked at the SC900 content. I was actually on the job task analysis to come up with everything that should be there. So the SC900 or the MS500, um, those two combined, if you go over the learning materials, are going to really give you a good overview of all the different security tools that or solutions that Microsoft's bringing together um, from detect, protect, and respond
Wow.
situation. But
Really?
it's a full platform that you have to
Mm.
look at. Um, you know, in the SC200 course, so Microsoft now has, you know, realistically speaking, AZ500, MS500, and then the four new ones, 6 security certs, right? So how does MS500 compare to SC200? You
Wow.
know, both those give really good overviews
Mm.
and some implementation things. But so like an SC200 is like, okay, what do we cover in SC200 that will overlap or not overlap with MS500? So like SC200 doesn't go in and talk specifically about how to configure everything you saw today. That's an
Mm.
MS500, where SC200 talks about how to respond
Mm.
to incidents that have taken place in Office 365 and
Mm.
how it's dealt with from a cross-domain standpoint. So SC200 is really for the SOC analyst responding to things versus
Mm.
MS500 where you're talking about configuring things. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
Perfect sense for me. And I have the MS500, and I probably have to go for the maybe my next target should be the SCs.
Yeah. So the nice thing is this is that um, Microsoft just changed how they do their renewal on certifications. They announced it back in January, not February. So now, back in December, they announced it. My fault. Now you can actually do when you get a cert, you can actually, it's only going to be valid for a year, and you get to renew in Microsoft.com/learn on a yearly basis for free.
Wow.
So there is no more going out and having to pay $165 every 2 years and take the same test again, right?
Wow.
You're gonna be able to research on Learn, which I think
Wow.
is really great news. So now I'm willing to go out and take other certifications. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take this cert from there. So yeah, I don't know if it's so if you Google Microsoft space SC-200, you can see more about what's in there and what it's covering. But it's really for the SOC analysts
Okay.
dealing with incidents and alerts more than it is configuration like you showed today.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Great. Thank you so much, Frank, for the information. It's highly appreciated. So thank you so much. And yes, I know we have to focus my new energy on. Okay. So now you mentioned about incident on here as well. So and which is the next thing I would like us to discuss about. So as you can see, I have a user, which is my main admin account. I tend to use it just to practically log in from my VM when I'm doing repros from Zoom. So it's been flagged for an alert called activity from infrequent country. So now, had it been I had this is a proper organization and I have like 15,000 users, I will see more. So this is why I would like to show us this video. I think it will be quite helpful for us to understand more about incidents and how it works. It really is quite helpful. Let me get the link. I think it's this guy. It's quite helpful. The link. Copy link. So the videos is quite helpful about incidents as well. Okay, so I think it's down here. Okay. Okay, so this interactive guide. Let me see if it's the one. Sorry.
This is what's called
Are you able to hear? Are you able to hear the
no.
volume?
This is a 20-minute interactive guide where you're going to be able to click through and
Yes, it's just click through.
take a look at this.
Okay, I don't know how I'm going to extend the volume for it to speak out. CL. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good thing that you can right mouse and take the link off of here and send it out to people. I mean, this is a good video for them to step through and take the 20 minutes to go through this. One of the things about trying Microsoft 365 Defender is that it basically requires an E5 license, which is really a pain to get a hold of to figure out how to get that trial to go through. So these interactive guides, I use them heavily in the M365 Defender content, just because I know that people won't be able to easily get access to it versus Sentinel that you're going to spin up and be on your way.
So this is quite helpful, and you can see when you talk about the incident as well, you can go through this interactive guides to see more on how to use this incidents to understand more on how to investigate. And it contains quite a lot. It's quite informative.
So that's a good screen there. So basically, an incident has alerts, the devices that are involved, the users involved, the mailboxes involved, automated investigations that have taken place, and the evidence that's been um, that's been brought forward. Now, this is a consolidated portal because the other portals, Cloud App Security, Defender for Endpoint, as you showed in um, um, Office 365, they have their own investigation pages. So right now, a lot of times these links will throw you out to do in real life, will throw you out to those other portals. Um, what's interesting that people find confusing is that when you're doing identity or user or identity investigations, they're going to throw you out to Cloud App Security. That seems kind of odd, and
Yeah.
it's an older looking interface
Yeah.
because they were going to focus everything in the Cloud App Security portal at one point, but then they switched out. But yeah, so this is really good here that of what they're showing. But you'll see on the detection source. So this is what we're talking about with XDR, or I call it cross domain, which is incorrect. You'll see that this incident has many alerts involved. And if you take a look at the detection source, what Microsoft 365 Defender is doing is that it's actually stringing together alerts from different incidents or alerts from different sources.
Workloads.
So the
Yeah.
endpoint, Office 360 or Office Defender, and then actually showing you in one picture this attack that's taken place across the board. Microsoft Threat Protection is where they actually do some fusion work and bring together a specific alert based upon what they're finding. Azure AT, go ahead.
No wonder you switched from Dynamics to being a security professional. They put everything on a silver platter for you here.
Go to Sentinel, and that's when you're writing detections. But that's
No, in all seriousness, I mean, I don't know how you guys did it in the on-prem days. It looks like everything's well organized, and you can't play around with security, and this allows you to sleep at night.
Frank, did you work the on-prem days on the on-prem days?
Did I deal with on-prem days?
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
I wonder how your life would be then, because
Well, I mean, I dealt more with Active Directory, pen testing, and host based stuff. So it was more on the offensive side for the on-prem, which is still somewhat the same.
Yeah. But the thing with on-prem, because I've had one or two scenarios where I had to work with um in on-premises. It's kind of like will I say more mechanical, because you tend to use PowerShell, tend to write up some stuff, so how to investigate more, and also if a message gets stuck, you need to worry about certificates. There's a whole lot to manage in on-premises.
Yeah. So I mean, today when we're dealing with Office 365 Defender, that's only 20% of what I consider a Microsoft 365 Defender. And the most in a hybrid scenario, the most underutilized product by far is Microsoft Defender for Identity. Or on your screen there, it was called Azure ATP before. That is a must to implement in there. So you should be implementing, like I said, Microsoft 365 Defender is Defender for Identity, Defender for Office 365, Cloud App Security, and Defender for Endpoint. To really take advantage of all the stuff, you got to be implementing all four of those things.
Yes, you're right. Yes. So I would like us to encourage us to just go through this interactive video. It's quite educative and informative, and it explains a whole lot about how to carry out threat hunting in Office 365 using Microsoft Defender. It's like brings everything all together in one place for you to understand more and trace the threats. Because sometimes when an account gets compromised, it's like more accounts gets compromised, and it does some stuff with the other accounts as well. And both laptops and other things get compromised as well. So this kind of is more like you can pick up the trail and understand what's going on. So
I mean, you guys have to do this because it teaches you a lot about the interface, but also for somebody to demo this capability, to set up the attack to make this sort of thing happen is very time consuming. So
Yeah,
that's why the interactive guide is so key here,
exactly.
because Microsoft's done all that attack work in the background, so people can see how to deal with it.
And it has a whole one thing I like about it. It has a whole lot of scenarios as well. It has a whole lot of unlike my test lab where I only have one incident. It has a whole lot. It's like a real life scenario.
Um,
And also one other thing I would like us to talk about is also to help us in maintaining our security posture is the secure score. About the secure score. So most customers don't tend to always use this, but basically this will always help most organizations to maintain security posture for the organizations. It's a tool that tends to advises you on how to go about your security to secure your users, and it has a lot of action steps for you to go through as well. So and when you go through this, it tends to score this points and then grade you. So overall, you can use this tool to understand your posture as well. And then and also most of the time, because of the name secure, most scenarios have and most scenarios most admins tend to think it's like the job is to secure your environment. So whereas the job is just to let you know your security posture, to understand how to configure more in terms of user behavior, system configurations, and other security measurements as well. So it's a nice tool, and most admins don't really know about this as well. So it's a nice tool for it to help you protect your users and also for threat hunting as well. So okay, guys. So here is the let's say end of my presentation. uh, I hope we all learned one or two in this. And please, if there's any discussion or any question you would like to ask, you can have a discussion as well.
Any questions out there in the audience?
do you recommend the users using the report button in the Outlook client?
Oh, exactly. Yes, 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 yes. I recommend. Yeah, yes, yes. Please, it should. Yeah, it's also a must use for users as well, so that they can always typically EOP is an AI that tends to always learn as well. So when they tend to report emails, it's more like updating. It's like updating knowledge base of the EOP, new domain, new new user as well. So EOP tends to learn a lot on how to protect your environment better. So message reports is very, very important as well. It can be in Outlook, both on the web and on the browser as well.
It's just a button for the for people who don't know, for people that report things as phishing or spam, that sort of thing. So it helps Microsoft and your own organization deal with it.
Okay, okay. Like I said, I have deployed that in my test environment. Let me log into my Outlook. Okay, let me log into my Outlook. Okay, so I can show the button. I think I have two. So I think I have. I think I have. Okay. Mm, okay, I think it's in my client as well. Just 1 second. Okay, you can also. Uh,
So in here there would be a button that's a little bit different between the Outlook client and the and
let me open up my client and let's see.
So it would be a report phishing button or something?
Yes.
Yeah, you end up reporting, says report message, junk phishing, not junk. So, you know, obviously the phishing ones are the ones that are most concerning.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get that end of year bonus.
Right, $600.
I think, where are you? I think I did repro on that at some point. I don't know if I've removed it because I
Yeah, you got
do
to
it.
open them.
I think I
I
do
think you
it
got
a
to
lot.
open the message.
Okay.
I'm curious if
Previous.
somebody in Russia sent out a phishing email, and then let's say, you know, a company, you know, somebody in the company, another company clicked on it, and then, you know, something bad happens. Will Microsoft take that piece of analytic and help their other customers prevent stuff like that from that Russian email?
And plus it will go after all the ones that were actually delivered to your other inboxes. So.
Oh, so you're using the collective power of all of Microsoft's customers.
Right.
Okay.
So, but the 0 day, zero, not 0 days, zero. I forget what the hell it's called now. Yeah, to go back to all the other boxes and let you know that who's opened it and who hasn't and so on. But
Okay.
there was just for the reporting. There's an add in here that would go in and let users report it back, and then it ends up in your action center inside the security portal for you then to take.
I think I remember I removed the add-in. I think I did when I was doing the reproduction. I think I removed the add-in.
Oh.
I think so. I think I did because I do a whole lot on my test lab.
Yeah. So can you go over to security.microsoft.com?
Okay.
So over there in Action Center, you would actually see all of the things that are being reported and coming through. Go to history. Let's see if you got anything out there in this environment.
I don't think I have.
Yeah. And so this is where you could approve or whatever things that are taking place that you used to do in the other portal.
Yeah, actually, if you go through the interactive guide, it talked about the action center as well. In the interactive guide, where you can come here and have a look at the history as well. From incidents, you can perform actions on it, and also automatically run a playbook if you want. And so the interactive video is quite helpful to know a lot about incidents and how to handle it as well.
Like I said, once that unified portal comes in, a lot of what you're doing today over in the Office protection side, you'll just be doing in security.microsoft.com.
I think let me get my add-ins here. I think I removed the add-in. Yep, here you go. Yeah. So this is one of the add-ins I tried out, and I had to when I was doing my repro. So this users can always use this to report messages.
Oh,
From the
nice.
Outlook clients. Yeah. So as you
Well,
can see, it has a withdrawn. So for some reason, when I was doing my testing, I had to withdraw it as well. So it's no longer showing up in my client.
That's when they started charging you money for it. Well, Amika, this has been a wonderful, wonderful presentation. It's been comprehensive, very thoughtful. I mean, you had a PowerPoint, very detailed, and you walked us through the interfaces as well. And Frank, you made this very warm because you've got the knowledge to complement Amika as well. I just can't say enough about everyone on this call: Jose, Karen, Frank, Amika, all of you guys. It's because of you guys that us cloud pioneers don't feel as alone, and you give light to all of us. I really thank you. And please keep in touch with Emeka on his LinkedIn. Consider singing his praises over there as well. I mean, if you guys took time out on a Sunday to do this, I mean, you guys are passionate, and I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been an honor doing this. I've looked forward to this, like seeing. I think we arranged this in December, so I've always looked forward to this.
Yeah.
And to talk about the security and to learn more, especially learn more from others as well. I'm really grateful. I'm really happy to do this.
We're gonna have you back, Emeka, and then we're gonna have Frank in March as well. And we got to learn a little bit about Legos as well. It's wonderful how we can make friends like this, many time zones away. We want to learn more about Legos. We want to learn more about you, and we celebrate the good work you do. Thank you, Emeka.
Thank you so much, Ciel. And thank you, Karen, and thank you, Jose, and thank you, Frank. It's been an honor to discuss this with you guys, to be honest. I really treasure this. I'm so happy. This really made my weekend.
Yeah, you too. Take care, guys.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye, guys.